Look at the garden. Oh my gosh, so many things are blooming here. This is so exciting. It is the first nasturtium bloom. So these are some gorgeous apricot nasturtiums. I got the seeds from MIgardener, one of my favorite seed companies, and they're beautiful. Oh my goodness, and there's so many more buds on these plants. I am so excited. Now there are also some leaves that are looking just, I don't know, not the most full green, I guess. And so one thing that I'm gonna do today is do a little bit of fertilizing. If you wanna have a successful container garden, I think probably the number one tip I can give you is to find some kind of fertilizer, even if it's just like, this is just an all-purpose. I'm not really breaking it up between a fertilizer for flowers and a fertilizer for the veggies. I'm just gonna do this one all-purpose fertilizer, but something like this will make such a big difference. Fertilizing is just, it's so important because there's only a certain amount of soil here. The plants just need to have the nutrients added to the soil. They aren't going to be able to keep going. And so I just started to notice, like with the nasturtiums, honestly, just with the move, I didn't pack all of my fertilizer, so I had to order some. And I just started to notice, like, the nasturtiums just look a little bit, I don't know, they could be looking better. Now we also have a clematis. I have two of these Stillwater clematis. There's one here and one over here. And this one looks significantly better. I'm not exactly sure if it's just a healthier plant or what, but it looks significantly healthier. But either way, I'm gonna fertilize both of them. With perennials, I usually just do like fertilizer once a month. And then with annuals, I like to do fertilizers once a week. Of course, these nasturtiums are in here with the perennials, so they're just gonna get a once a month fertilizer, but I think that should be okay. I mean, looking at them, even though they look a little bit like in need of some fertilizer, they still are covered in blooms. So we've got so much going on. So I'm just gonna mix this up. This is True Organic. I've worked with them in the past. I did purchase this myself. I just like it because it's just a nice, easy, water-soluble fertilizer. And I prefer the water-soluble fertilizers for my containers. Just any of the, like, I'm trying to do organic, all organic this year, but just any of the water-soluble fertilizers, this is a good one. Because I can just put it into a watering can and do the fertilizing and just actually make sure that I'm dosing the plants. With some of the grains that you sprinkle over the soil, it's just harder to control like how much fertilizer the containers are actually getting. So those can sometimes be a good like backup to have, but I like to just do like a nice neutral fertilizer just on everything once a week if I can remember it. Oh no, my seeds are blowing away. It's a bit windy out here, but I did bring out some of these seed packets because a little bit earlier I came out and actually seeded a few more things, did a little bit of like a flower seed sowing, and it looks like I need to water everything in again too, because it looks like it got pretty dry out here. But I'm going to go through with you today as well all of these seeds that I threw into the garden beds, because I think if they come up, it's going to be a pretty fun collection of plants. But let's go ahead and water right now, and I'm going to do the fertilizer, and then we will come back and talk about seeds. But I want to make sure I actually get this done because I tend to, I don't know, fertilizing can sometimes be the last thing that you want to do, and so it's a good priority. First, I'm going to give the whole garden bed just a good dose of water so that everything is saturated, and then I will go in with the fertilizer. Now, if I had raised beds that went all the way down through to the ground, I might not be fertilizing them with the water soluble fertilizer on that weekly schedule with all of the containers. But since I have these like they're fully contained, I'm just gonna keep watering with the fertilizer once a week in the raised beds too, just to give those containers, I don't know, a little extra something. The next thing I'm gonna do really quickly before we talk seeds is pot up these petunias. I just have a couple extra petunias, so I figured I'll just stick them in a couple of the pots that I have here so that we can enjoy them. And then I'll do more flower combinations, I think, but I don't have any like other flowers right now, so I want to get them out of this little 6-pack. I feel like it's getting kind of small, so I think I might do like a little small, just sort of single petunia container and just a couple just all petunia containers. And I think it'll be kind of pretty because they'll just like be these pops of pink, and that's just always pretty. So let me get that set up. There's nothing simpler than just like a one flower, I don't know, I guess they like a mono, I don't know what they call it, single variety of flower in a container. It's simple, but it's also beautiful. And when you have a big container garden like mine, it's sometimes nice to sort of break up all the craziness for your eye by having some of these containers that are just one plant. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just put all 3 of these in here. If I want to add more pink to the garden, I can always get more pink petunias. They are everywhere. Or I could always go ahead and get like a different kind of, pink. This color pink is pretty common. Okay, so I'm gonna pop that right here. Oh, that's gonna be great. And let's place the other one. Perfect. And I had some leftover fertilizer here. So this is the perfect thing to water this in. Just water these guys in. Look at how well the Dusty Miller is coming along. It's really put on some growth. This next upcoming week, we have a bunch of days that are gonna be right around, I think like 70 just all week long. And I'm hoping that that'll be a really big boost to the garden and we'll start to see some real growth. Although the plants in the raised beds really are starting to take off. I feel like I'm just noticing everything sort of come to life. Okay. Let's fertilize in here. Very good. Okay, and let's talk seeds. So I planted these in the raised beds in a few of the little nooks and crannies, especially this raised bed that has just the tomatoes and the peppers. I went ahead and took a little section and made it into like a little flower area and just kind of like wildly scattered a few seeds. I put in some of these Blue Boy bachelor's buttons. Always nice to have a bachelor's buttons to get some of that like really vibrant blue. I've got yellows and pinks in the garden right now, but I need that contrasting color. And I also put in a few of these black bachelor buttons. Again, I kind of just sowed them sort of freely, just kind of scattered everything, so I'm not quite sure, you know, how everything is going to come up. Hopefully it'll kind of just be like a little meadow, but they're both about 3 foot tall, 2 feet to 3 foot tall, pretty flowers that'll bloom like midsummer. So that should be nice. And then in that area, I also put in a little bit of tetra dill. This kind of closer to the pepper, but tetra dill is one of my favorite dills. It's a really nice bushy dill, and so it really like is compact, and you get actually a lot of leaves. If you have trouble with having dill be really stringy all the time, that might be a good one to try. I also threw in a bunch of chamomile, and then the seed packet accidentally blew into the water, so then like into one of the puddles, so then I had to just throw chamomile everywhere. So there'll be chamomile coming up hopefully in all of the beds, and we'll just see what happens. And then I did a few zinnias, a little patch of Benary giant zinnias in each of the raised beds. These are big, beautiful, tall zinnias, lots of bright colors that should just really add some fun like color to each bed. And these get really pretty tall, like almost up to 4 feet tall, so I put them toward the back of the raised beds, and hopefully they'll just come up and fill in. I'm really hoping that it'll end up being a beautiful look. And I did put in a few Oklahoma formula mix, which is another brightly colored kind of mix of zinnias. I put these in the container that I have cosmos in right now, because I thought as the cosmos keep growing up and blooming, then hopefully the zinnias will come up, and hopefully it'll be a good look. I hope the wind is not too bad. I've kind of got you tucked into the corner here where hopefully the wind isn't hitting too much. And then I also did a straw flower. This is like a mix of colors of straw flower, which these are tall, so they should grow up to like 3 or 4 feet as well. And I put some of these in with the like bachelor's buttons and the chamomile, so hopefully that'll kind of add to that like sort of whimsical meadowy kind of look that hopefully we're getting going. And around the tomatoes, I also threw in some just sweet basil seeds. If you just want like a good, quick, nice, easy basil for cooking, sweet basil is a great one. It's just a real consistent variety. And so there are some other ones that I maybe like better, but I just thought it'd be nice to get just like some good solid green basil that I could have in, you know, in pesto, etc. I'm really excited because I'm going to be getting a couple more raised beds. So we're going to be adding a little bit more space, not a whole lot, but a little bit more space to the garden coming up here. And so I'm starting picking out some more seeds for that as well. So that'll be kind of fun when we get that going. Hopefully we'll be able to maybe do some more squash or kind of like peppers, eggplants, things like that. I want to add just a few more things. So I have some stuff that I still want to add, but it was fun to just throw some seeds in. Of course, I come out with like this stack of seeds. You know, I could plant a huge garden space with this, and I don't have a huge garden space. So I did try to sow them pretty like sparsely in my little meadow area. This is where I sowed all the flower seeds. And hopefully they'll just like come up and fill in this area. And then I'm gonna probably put an arch for the tomatoes to grow on, and then we'll have a pepper right here. And I'm just gonna try to like leave this space for flowers and like a little bit of basil. We'll see how it ends up developing. Of course, I don't want to plant anything over here with my cucumber and my squash. No sightings on the squash. Nothing's come up yet, but again, this week coming up, next week, it should be really nice temperature wise. Nice warm days and warm nights are what you want to get your squash to come up and start growing. So hopefully we see some sprouts here maybe by the next time I give you an update on the garden. But anyways, I just wanted to share with you, this is my little, you know, little garden projects for the day. I'm loving sowing seeds and everything. Moving was so tricky, and not having a garden was like so strange, and now coming out here sowing seeds like this, it just feels like I've got my garden back, and I'm so happy about it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.